What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Snowcast Sports Talk Podcast, episode 28. Joined here with my co-host, John. John, how we doing today?
Good. Doing good.
Changed up the jersey, I can see.
I did.
So instead of repping the Tom Brady Bucks,
you got who needs more love. Well, Tom Brady doesn't want to play football this year, so
yeah, he's been gone for a little bit.
You know what yeah, we'll get into the
No. Let's start with that. What's the theory? It wasn't even in the script.
He's on The Masked Singer. That's the theory. You heard about this?
No, I don't care about Tom Brady.
No, this is what it is. That's why I don't care either anymore. I promise, because that's the network he's going to be on. So he's literally he's filming it, and then in 3 months, people are going to be like, "Who is it? Who is it?" It's going to be Tom Brady. Everyone's going to be like, "How is he doing it while playing football?" He's doing it before and skipping preseason. That's how he's doing it.
Hey, you know who wouldn't have let that happen? Bruce Arians.
Bill Belichick, dude. Yeah, exactly. Only Todd Bowles.
Brady has removed all opposition. He can do as he pleases. As maybe you can make the case he deserves it.
I mean, if he goes to Super Bowl, he deserves it. But
man, he was one. That game last year, he was close.
So close.
It wasn't even his fault, man. That was just a really great play by Cooper Kupp and Stafford. And Stafford, that was a beautiful ball. I know,
they're just a great team last year.
Yeah, Rams have always been a pretty big thorn in the Bucs side, especially while Brady's been there. So, remember earlier in that year, Brady was 3 or 4-0, and they got pretty exposed by the Rams in that week. I remember being at Amazing Bubba's, and we were talking, and we were like, "Damn, ugly." Yeah. But yeah, either way, Brady is gone right now, so Cam's getting the love. Is he unsigned at the moment?
Unsigned, nowhere.
Do you want to start? You want to start with your Cam predictions? What do you think's going to happen with him?
He's going to the Browns, so stay tuned.
Is he really way better than Jacoby Brissett? Be real.
No, but he will. More people will probably go to the games, and more jerseys will be sold. He's not way better though, but he's certainly more impactful to the NFL than Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know why the Seahawks don't think about getting Cam. That's the team that I just feel like Cam is better than Geno Smith or Drew Lock.
Yeah.
But Cam would be horrible there. But I feel like him and DK Metcalf would just be like dogs. They would just I feel like their energies would just be they're
giant people.
Their energy would just vibe.
That'd be epic. It'd be really epic. I would all of a sudden be weirdly excited for the Seahawks. And then I just don't know what to do. So I hope he doesn't do that. Honestly, if Cam went to the Seahawks, I think I'd be more excited about Cam and DJ Metcalf than I would be the Panthers or the Lions.
Really?
Yeah, so it would just be Giants, Bucks, Bengals, Seahawks, and then the other guys.
Fair.
Yeah, no doubt.
Fair. All right, well, let's get into our first thing here. So earlier this week, Deshawn Watson, we've been touching on him. I think I've made it very clear, and I think John agrees with me. This is a topic where we don't want to offend any of the sides, and that's not because I just don't want to offend any of the audience, people that are listening. I'm not really strongly opinionated on this, but Deshawn is now suspended for 11 games and had to pay $5 million to the people who were suing him. I don't know if that was the 24 women or I think it almost was 40 at one time. I don't know how that money was spread out, but it was the biggest financial penalty ever given to a player. And it was a judge that decided the 6-game suspension. And as me and John kind of predicted previously, the NFL was going for more games.
Yeah. And that was probably the right move. I think they needed to do that just so they could make it apparent that this sort of behavior isn't tolerated. It was what if they took it away? It said it's only going to be one more game.
It would have been counterproductive. Like we've talked about a bunch in this podcast. The NFL is making a very consolidated effort to include women in where they can. I really don't think putting women out on the football field is maybe the wisest choice, but there's some great coaches, there's some great referees, there's some great executives, as we've talked about. So I think, the NFL is trying to, stand by them in this. And I think the one thing I do want to say that I've always said, innocent or guilty, it's really weird to have that many different masseuses in a certain amount of time. I don't care who you are. That's super weird. So innocent or guilty, why do you need that many? So that's all I'm going to say. And also, too, that Deshaun needs to stop talking. I did watch his press conference. So a couple weeks ago, he said, I take responsibility for what had happened. And then last week, he said, I stand on my innocence. So he's also like contradicting himself, which is not helping his case. And I think it just shows like another thing I'm going to say. I just think the Browns are a total clown show. I just can't believe they put themselves through this. Like, they gave up their future. They gave this guy the most guaranteed money in the NFL. And they got off a quarterback in Baker who, at the minimum, is top 20 and at best top 10.
One of my big reasons I'm a Baker supporter is because I completely agree that the Browns are a clown show. I think it's a great way to put it. And that's why anyone can say what they want. We just haven't seen the best of Baker yet because he was playing. It's like, if a genius runs around with the circus, are you going to know he's a genius until he leaves the circus or not? You know, it's like now he did. And so we finally get to see him. And did he go from one circus to another? Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I think to get out of the Browns organization is huge. I mean, they were like 130 years with the playoff game, right?
And you can tell Baker wasn't happy with that team. He took a huge pay cut to get to the Panthers. He basically was like, whoever's going to take me, that's where I want to go. I don't care if I'm a third string. I want to get the hell out of Cleveland.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is, and we'll see. One of the interesting things, though, is now Deshaun's first game back is Week 11 against the Texans. So now we have Russell Wilson playing his former team on his first game with the Broncos. We have Baker playing his former team on the first week as the Panthers, and now Deshaun will be playing his first week against his former team with the Browns. So just kind of funny that it's now worked out that all of these guys. If anyone wants to make a case the NFL is scripted, this is where you make that case.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's going to be interesting, too, is we're going to get to see what kind of quarterback Deshaun is. Because if he has 11 games where he can just practice and get good,
let's hope.
Weeks, that's what Tom Brady would do. That's what Joe Burrow would do. So we get to see. Is he going to come out and be an absolute crapshoot, or is he going to come out and show that he earned his place with the Browns? I would bet a lot of money he's going to be terrible, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see pretty quick. I think there's going to be some rust to get off, so when we get to that point in the season and we talk about it, I will be very much on the case of he needs a couple weeks to get up to speed. It's a new team. It's a new system. He's got to build chemistry.
Can he practice with them?
He can play in the preseason with them.
Well, there you go.
If I was the Browns, man, he'd be playing the whole game. I would have Deshaun playing the whole game. But, yeah, now it's going to be...
23?
No, Week 11 has to be like December, I think. November or December.
All right.
But still, crazy. But, it's nice to have your first game against a team like the Texans, who really are, like, the worst or second worst team in the NFL.
You get some reps.
Yeah, it's them or the Seahawks are, like, the worst teams. So we'll see, but... Yeah, Deshaun's gone for 11 games. It's final. That's what's going on. So now the Browns move forward, and I guess the final question is, do the Browns pick up a Cam Newton, a Jimmy G, or do they ride with Jacoby Brissett?
They're going to ride with Brissett.
Yeah, yes.
They're so certain in Deshaun that they're just going to Seahawks. The division they're in, too, their division's too good. That's the same with the Seahawks. That's why I don't think either are going to go ahead and pick these guys up, because their divisions are.
They don't need to
be
competitive because it's too tough.
They don't.
Got to play this.
Yeah, they're better off tanking, just getting some footage of who their opponents are and what they look like.
Yeah, and I think one of the teams that's going to be really good next year is the Steelers. I think a lot of people are writing the Steelers out, but I think the Steelers have 3 decent quarterbacks. I watched their preseason game, and I thought Pickett looked good.
Yeah, well, it's the Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, right?
Yeah.
Browns. Yeah, dude, that division might be as good as the West. Or that's probably 1 and 2.
Yeah. AFC North and NFC West are probably the 2 best. And that
it's kind of epic. I bet, dude, funny, that could be our Super Bowl. One from each.
It was last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally. So yeah, that's a good point. So fair enough. Moving on to the next topic, though. Tomorrow, we have the Bengals and the Giants playing in the second week of the preseason. So a couple interesting things I just wanted to state is, first, the Bengals have said Joe Burrow and most of the starters will not be playing. But on the other end, the Giants have said that Daniel Jones and the starters, and then Kayvon and the defense and the starters will all be playing at least a series or two again, maybe even a little bit longer tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST. So I guess my first question is, John, is as a Giants fan, as partially a Giants fan, what do you want to see from the Giants offense tomorrow? What would you want to see from the offense that would make you optimistic going into the season?
Daniel Jones coming in for a series and a touchdown, similar to what we saw Trubinsky do with the Steelers. Remember, you and I were watching that game?
Yeah, he had a nice throw.
Like that, even if it's a bunch of Bengals secondaries, that's fine. Seeing that would make me hopeful. I don't remember seeing that. We might have. I'd want it to be really clean. I wouldn't want any I don't know, any move the ball 10 yards forward because the defense got a penalty.
Yeah.
Or end with a field goal. That would I want to see a clean
nice drive down the field, get a touchdown. If he goes down,
it doesn't have to be Jones, but just from the offense.
Yeah, just a good offensive drive. See some good Saquon. We talked about last week, Kenny Golladay had that drop on 3rd and goal, and they had to kick the field goal. So, finish it off. That'd be the progression. I kind of agree with you. The progression from week 1 to week 2, the Giants had a nice drive down the field, but then they couldn't get the touchdown. Let's get that touchdown now. You had another week of practice. You get to watch some film. They're actually preparing against this team. So, last week, they didn't prepare against the Patriots because it's the first week. So, but now this week, they're actually preparing against the Bengals. They know the Bengals players, who they're going to be against. So I want to see maybe a little bit from the coaching, too. Find some weaknesses on that defense, even if it's the second team, and exploit it,
Right. And the Bengals have weaknesses in their defense, so that if they should be able to do their homework and find it, because they're not. The Bengals defense is not the Legion of Boom.
No, I totally agree. I think the Giants going down and getting a touchdown, or just getting a touchdown from the starting offense at some point. Maybe a field goal and a touchdown, or maybe a couple first downs and then punt it, but then get a touchdown after that. Just get a touchdown. Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley runs it in for a touchdown would be a nice thing to see. And maybe a little less vanilla on the play calling. Do some motions, do some different creative things. We have a Chiefs offensive coordinator. The Chiefs have a much more dynamic offense than the Bills ever did. The Chiefs have all these interesting plays. They backhand it. Not saying I want to see Jones do that stuff, but I think going down and getting a touchdown would be awesome. That'd be great to see. And then what about from the starting defense? Is there anything you're looking to see from them?
It's always good if we get some sacks or fumble or something. Or
I just want some 3 and outs, man. I mean, Brian Hoyer marched on our first team defense last week,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I want to see some pressure. I want to see Kayvon. I want to see Azeez Ojulari. Those are our 2 outside linebackers. I want to see Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, I just want to see some improvement. And then maybe some interesting blitzes. We have a defensive coordinator now who likes to blitz with corners and safeties. So seeing some maybe more intricate defense too would be cool. So and also just no injuries, but I think just some progression. I think it's important.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, from the Bengals, we're not seeing any Joey Ice, and we're not seeing many of the starters. But, I think we have the opportunity to talk about the Bengals a little bit. The Bengals, to me, are one of the most interesting teams going into this season, because I think you can logically, with some football IQ, make a case that they are going to go 7 wins and 10 losses, but you could also make the case that they're going to go 12 wins and 5 losses and make it into the playoffs. I think they're that kind of team. So I guess what are your thoughts, John? We know you're a big Joey Ice fan, so I think you and me may differ here.
I think they win their division for sure. I think it's going to be close. I think the Ravens and the Steelers, it'll be we'll be looking at 1 or 2 game differences, but I think they'll win the division. When I look at the Bengals, especially the offense, it looks a lot like the old Patriots offense. And it's a star quarterback with a bunch of tier 2 names in your receiving line, but just a smart player as quarterback. So he's not going to be making decisions that are going to hurt the offense. He's only going to make decisions that'll progress it or leave it where it is. And I think there's something dangerous about that. So I do think, I really think they're going to be back in the Super Bowl. Unless Joe Burrow gets hurt.
Do you think they beat the Bills and the Chiefs in the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I do, because I think it's just going to come down to tiny things. I think those games will be, I mean, as close as any football game, but it'll be like a fumble right at the end,
Yeah, the
or
Bengals did
a
prove
field
last year
goal.
they're clutch. I think it comes down to
They're clutch.
clutchness.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be these final moments, and it was like I think they were playing the Ravens. I was watching it. And they were down like 20 points or something. Or the Chiefs. They were playing against the Chiefs in the AFC playoff game, and it was like 20-3, and they came back and won that game. And so it's like they
Defense is sneaky underrated.
and I think what what the media is doing to the Bills, they're doing the opposite to the Bengals, and that
Yep.
plays in the benefit of the Bengals to me,
That
because
scares me with the
everyone's
Bills.
going to go in, get 20 points against the Bengals, think they're done, and be like, "Oh, nice, we did it." And then Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are just going to start throwing dimes, and it's going to be a 1-point game. The Bengals will win. So they did it 4 times in a row last year. It was crazy, and I see no reason why they couldn't do that again, because other than Higgins leaving, the team's only got better. Really.
Yeah, they've improved their O-line. I wish I knew the names, but I know for a fact they picked up some offensive linemen, like got some nice contracts and did some drafting as well. So, and yeah, the defense is sneaky good. So I think
You just don't when you go play against Green Bay, you bring everything you have, or Tampa, but when you go play against the Bengals, you do it. You play hard, but then you're like, nice, we did it. And it's like,
no, not with that team.
we're not that team anymore. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if
But-
we see conferences where Joe Burrow's back looking at the media saying, I don't know why people
But
don't
couldn't
think
you
we're good.
couldn't you flip it though? Now that they've been to the Super Bowl and they were so close to winning, that teams might take them way more seriously. So it might actually.
Dude,
That's
it
what I'm
might.
saying. There's a case you could make, like, because I could tell you in the other breath, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are coming with a fire, dude. They had more injuries
dude.
last year than anyone, and they had a sneaky great draft. And they did lose Hollywood Brown, their like best wide receiver, but like that's not their team, man. If they have a stable of running backs and Lamar, they're good to go. And
Those will be some of the best games. The Ravens games will be as good as any game.
Yeah, and then also to the Steelers, Mike Tomlin is just one of the best coaches in the NFL right now, and so any love I can give him, I do.
Mm-hmm.
So and the Bengals too, man. It's just the AFC is just such a tough division, Playing the Bills and playing the Chiefs, yeah, you can make the case that Burrow's a better quarterback, but I could make the case that Mahomes and Allen are leagues better. Just from the stats they've put up. So and the teams around them, the Bills have a lot of hype for a reason. They have a great team around them. They got Von Miller, Stephon Diggs. I think Gabriel Davis and Dawson Knox are underrated guys. So we'll see. Ed Oliver and Gregory Rousseau on the Bills. Like, the Bills are a stacked team. And then Patrick Mahomes, man, I don't know. The games are going to be great. I think the Bengals are like a great reason of why the NFL is going to be so awesome next year. I think so.
No, it'll be good. It'll be good. It gives me vibes of that AFC Championship game. I think it was 2018 AFC Championship game where the Patriots went to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs.
Oh.
You can look at that game and you can say, it's like you want to think the Patriots can win, but you look at Travis Kelce, you look at Patrick Mahomes,
Tyreek Hill,
and you look at the numbers.
It was a fight, dude. It was a fight.
It's a fight, dude. I think that's really what we're gonna get in the all-blue divisional game. Those fights, and I just see the Bengals coming out on top.
I think Zach Taylor is a sneaky good head coach too. I think he's pretty good head coach.
They have the same running back too. The Bengals too. He's good too. He's slept on.
Yeah. I want to say his name is Taylor.
It is Taylor.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting, and I think the Bengals are wise not to play their starters against the Giants. There's no need. They know what they have. Keep those guys healthy. Excuse me, God. So it'll be a good little. Oh man, whew, my throat's killing me. Good Lord, John, take over.
Taking over with a song. Ba-dum-bum-bum.
Oh God. No,
We're
but
back.
dude, I've had this cold and it just won't leave me.
Like a month.
Crazy.
You may have it fresh. At this rate.
Yeah. But I refuse to stop doing these podcasts.
And you've been taking really good medication, right?
Loads. Totally off topic. Remember North and South? Remember the guy? You gotta take your medicine. I always tell Liv that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Totally
dude.
off topic. Oh, so good. Shout out to North and South.
What's his name?
Patrick Swayze, R.I.P. Oh, the bad guy. Oh man, I won't remember.
Bent? No.
No, Bent was one of the villains though. All right.
Who's the other guy?
Either way, we're going into
Shout out to Bent.
shout out to Bent. Final thing we want to discuss is John's Corner. So John's topic he brings to the podcast. So do you want to go through, John, what we were talking on the phone with earlier, or do you got something else you want to talk about?
Dude, I kind of want to talk about Tom Brady.
You want to go back into the Brady talk? All right, what do you want to talk about with Brady?
Dude, I want to go back to my early prediction. I think this was on a podcast where I popped off and got really upset at Tom Brady on one of the early podcasts. Like
when you and Matthew were on?
Yeah, right?
Okay.
I think that John has some merit, dude.
Yeah.
I thought for a while that John was wrong, and I was like, oh, I jumped the gun with this. Maybe he's gonna be like a baller gonna come in, but like, what the heck is going on? What's going on right now?
I don't know, dude. And the Bucks have been having some injuries, man.
Well, yeah, but Tom Brady hasn't been. He's literally for the last 20 days has not been with the Bucks. He literally wasn't on their last practice and hasn't been there for a single preseason. Been there, not playing, been there. Like for 20 days now, he's not been with the team because he doesn't care about football as much this year. And that was the point I was making back on that podcast. So my hot take, the Tampa Bay loses their first playoff game.
Yeah, they win that division for sure.
Oh, yeah, dude. Unless Baker pops off more than anyone.
Or the Saints do.
Yeah, or the Saints. If they win the division, I think. Even Brady at pace without Jensen, with Godwin and
Evans, and then Julio Jones.
Oh, geez, and Julio. Yeah, you're still gonna win that division, but they'll probably lose. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose their opening game. It'll probably look more like the 2020
They're
season.
playing Dallas. If Dallas beats them, that'll be huge.
Dallas isn't like they're not good, but they're not bad.
No, they're
like,
not. It's Dak Prescott.
Dallas is like playing the Texans. So I could see Dallas winning that game.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Brady should have stayed retired. I really thought this whole season. I think you're seeing like the dark side of Brady. He's so full of himself and such a confident person. It can bite you in the butt because he retires and then he goes, wait, no, the NFC is mine for the taking if I can just beat the Rams. And so he's like, okay, well, let me do that. But the thing is, you have to come back and you got to grind, man. It's a grind. It's not. Yeah, who knows what he's doing? Hopefully.
I just don't think his priorities are the Super Bowl. I just don't think really his priority this year is the Super Bowl. I think for the last 20 years, last 21 years, 22 years it was. I don't think it is this year.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a good one. I think we'll see. No one takes it easy on him, and he doesn't take it easy on himself. So we'll see. One final thing, actually. Is there anything else you want to add to that? But that's a good one. I like it. Kind of funny. I'll have to send you the video. So I guess Belichick came out, and he made a comment about when they played the Giants last week, and he said, yeah, they blitzed a lot more than you usually do in a preseason game. And he said we had to like adjust our offense for that. And so they were asking, why weren't you doing many play action passes? And he goes, oh, because they kept blitzing. Like they didn't stop blitzing. And Wink Martindale, our defensive coordinator, is like, that's all he does is blitz. Like that's his thing. He loves blitzing. And so, so Belichick like said it in a press conference and like kind of started moving. This was early in the week. And so Wink Martindale does a press conference and they ask him about it. And Wink Martindale just like looks and he goes, yeah, we're on to Cincinnati. Because they're playing Cincinnati next week. But it was obviously like a Bill Belichick joke. It was really funny. It was just, he's like this big, heavy set, like white guy. He's just like, yeah, we're on to Cincinnati. It was the way, and his voice kind of sounds similar. So I liked the swag. I thought it was cool. Screw Belichick. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's a freaking preseason game. Like, I feel like Belichick's just as much a baby as Brady is about losing. Like, Belichick won't do press conferences. He won't shake people's hands. He just like rushes off the field. Like, and I love Belichick, man.
Did you hear about the Malcolm Butler retired? Did you see that? I think.
No, James White did. Malcolm Butler, John, came back.
Who had the interception against the Seahawks?
Yeah, so I'll tell you about that. So that's Malcolm Butler. He came back, and he played against the Giants. So he signed a deal with the Patriots. He came back to the Patriots after all that stuff happened, and then he just, after playing the Patriots in practice, had a season-ending injury and is done now.
He's done now. Yeah, that's what I meant. He's done with football.
I don't know if he retired. I didn't see that.
Oh, retired injury. I don't know. But
yeah, he's not playing for the year.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll. I was watching Undisputed, and they were talking about what are we going to remember about Malcolm Butler.
Yeah. Because now he's gone for the year, but he hasn't officially retired. But
I see.
It looked like it was a 1-year deal, I think. So
well, yeah. Well, to full circle it, they were talking about it, and they were saying he'll always be the guy who got the interception.
Best player in the Super Bowl defense.
Right. Yeah, pretty much ever. Pretty much best defensive play in
it's the most pivotal play ever in sports history.
But do we remember that more than we're going to remember? The Belichick. That the only
benching him against the Eagles.
The reason we lost. I swear I'd go to my grave on that side of that argument. So really.
Well, I mean, Nick Foles and those wide receivers toasted the Patriots. So.
Right. It's maybe because a star defensive player wasn't in the game.
Yeah, and Malcolm Butler that year was a pretty solid cornerback.
Brady holds the record in Super Bowl playoff.
Yeah, most yards.
520 something, and they still lost that game. And because you let Nick Foles.
I'm telling you, Skip Bayless is a goofball. And Shannon Sharp, I think, is usually right, but Shannon is so dead wrong on that topic, and Skip is so right. Like, Brady had nothing to do with that loss against the Eagles. Brady did everything he could to will that game, and Belichick did everything he could to sabotage it.
Yeah, and so this goes into what you were just saying. Like, Belichick's as much a baby. He is, because we still don't know why he sat Butler that game, but whatever the reason is, I get the feeling it was something petty and silly, and
yeah.
You're 500 yards and you still lose. Like, I'm sure that was the moment Brady was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
There it is. There goes the funding, boys. Yeah, that's fair. But, yeah. Belichick's a baby sometimes, so. Happy the Giants won that game. I was super happy the Giants won that game. I know it's just a preseason game, but it's just cool to get those young guys to get a win. Hoping they win tomorrow. I'm hoping they win against the Bengals. I want to see. Let's hope we see them do as well as let's see them do as well as we hope they do. But on that note, kind of a shorter episode today, but that's okay. John, thanks for joining me. Everyone, thanks for listening in. If you guys have any topics you want us to talk about, you always can put them down in the comments below. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed. If you're on YouTube, give us that thumbs up, and we will see you next week, guys. Peace.